whenever I say that, people do ask me if I was there during the Capital One breach, and I was not. That is the time I made the switch to Chase, and within like 6 months, the breach happened. But being in the security space for 10 plus years and overall in the data space for 25 years, and excited to be back. This is my second time with the CISO Roundtable, so some familiar faces, and then looking to make new friends as well.
Thank you, Vivek. And our second panelist here is Prabhat Sharma. Prabhat is the founder and CEO of OpenObserve. So Prabhat, I'd love you to tell your background a little bit for the audience and what all great things you're doing with OpenObserve.
Sure, Naveen. Thanks a lot. And thanks a lot, Vivek, for your introduction too. And everyone, great to meet you here. This is my first time at CISO Roundtable. I'm the founder and CEO of OpenObserve. We are an open source observability company. We've been building the company for around 3 years. Prior to that, I used to work for AWS. And yes, I was at AWS when the Capital One breach happened. And I remember those days very, very vividly. And the fixes that at AWS that we had to build to ensure that this never happens again. Essentially, IMDS V2. That is what came as a result of that, if you folks remember that. We specialize in providing while full stack observability solutions, but what we are finding is in the industry, and one of the things that I talked to Naveen earlier was that in the case of Agentic AI, very large volumes of data that people are trying to crunch, especially in the area of security. Think about CDN or security logs. And we'll talk more about that, but that's something that we are actually noticing. Extreme volume of data. Think about hundreds of terabytes of data being generated per day. And then I'm trying to analyze and run any kind of queries on top of that. I'll stop here for now.
Thank you, Prabhat. And our next panelist is Mike Machado. Mike is also been CISO in a number of companies, including most recently with Beyond Trust, Shippo, and earlier Ring Central. And so, Mike, would you like to elaborate a little more on what else with your background as well as whatever you'd like to say about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Mike. As Naveen said, I'm a multi-time CISO, startup advisor, occasionally, contributor to the community. Have a fun, exciting project coming up that I've been working on with the Cloud Security Alliance. We're gonna NOMA and Haze and Harmonic Security. We're all going to announce that next week, in fact. So that's a fun industry project. But kind of by day, CISO is what I do.
Thank you, Mike. Really appreciate it. So why don't we get started with our first topic is how the CISO's roles have evolved, because both of you as well as even in the audience, we will reach out to them after this. Is how you think 5 years and now, and with this Agentic AI, whether will we have an agent CISO, virtual or real CISOs in future? So Vivek, would you like to start from there?
Yeah, so I will tell you how the role has evolved over the last 6 to 9 months. I've not seen a technology so rapidly adopted within a company in my 25 years in the industry. We talked about breaches and AWS and cloud. Like there was some forewarning about cloud coming, and then it took like a few years for people to warm up to it. But there is no forewarning with AI. There is no warming up. There was this AI came with so much hype around performance improvement and productivity enhancement and so on, that everybody in most enterprises thought, hey, we just use AI and magically things happen. And ChatGPT certainly did not help, given how uncanny it was in figuring out what you wanted and giving you answers at what you wanted. So the shadow AI is a real thing. It has been a here and now problem for the last 3 to 6 months already. And there is no clear solution on how we would go about actually containing it, much less so fixing it. So that's one aspect. To answer your question about like whether we would actually have a CISO 5 years down the line, I think personal or digital avatars that are very personalized would be a common thing, according to me. It could certainly be doing most of the cognitive heavy thinking that a non-human can do. And then we humans would be left with sort of thinking about the what if scenarios that only we can with a certain amount of imagination. But it's an interesting time, and just the role will evolve far more rapidly in the next 5 years than it did in the last 20 years.
Okay. Thank you, Vivek. Mike, how about you? I mean, you probably
Yeah.
get that question asked,
How's the role evolved in the past 5 years? It's continuing to evolve, but over the past 5 years, my observations is it's moved from tactical to strategic. Tactical being, we need to patch these things or solve this security problem. Just to strategic, saying now it's a critical facet of our business health. From technical to business, meaning the interaction at the business level is far more important than it ever was, and continuing to be more important. From friction inducer to business enabler is another transition of the role. The scope increases. Old technology never dies, new technology emerges. So most recently we have AI. All of that needs all of the same security motions that mobile did, that web did, that cloud did, that on-prem did. And so that requires a constant kind of multifaceted development of ourselves, and the roles evolved.
Thank you, Mike. So and Prabhat, I'm sure you also, when you sell your solutions, CISOs are part of the buying process on the other side. So if you want to share any of your interactions with the current company or in the past, you think, how you've seen the roles of CISOs evolving from your perspective.
No, I'll leave this to Michael and Vivek. I've never been a CISO, and I'm not really an expert in that particular topic.
Yeah, no, that's fine. No worries. So, but we have other CISOs in the audience. I see Randy here and a number of other folks. So, if you would like to kind of provide your perspective with this infusion of now agentic AI. I mean, the things have moved so fast, right? ChatGPT, generative AI, now it's agentic AI. So I don't know what will happen in a year. Even we didn't know. So
I agree. So Randy Barr, been a CISO, still a CISO, and advisor for many different companies. But yeah, just a few years, it's changed a lot, right? The the adoption of AI, especially the hyper adoption compared to how we adopted cloud, how we adopted ASP, how we adopted mobile, is a lot faster than any other technology that I've ever seen in my career. And CISOs before used to be able to be one of those, no, let's stop, let's analyze, let's understand before we move forward. But that today is now a business disabler. They have to enable the business. And so they need to be able to adapt to new change, new innovation, new adoption of tools. And they're expected to help the organization securely move forward. That's the biggest thing. And it's a lot faster than what it used to be. Now, one of the things that I hear is AI is going to replace security roles. I don't think so. It's going to be just like how people used to say IT roles are going to be replaced by cloud computing. It's not going to eliminate it. Instead, it's just going to shift that focus, because security professionals are going to be the ones that need to understand and how to implement solutions like prompt filtering, any tool execution guardrails, so it doesn't execute tools that are not supposed to be approved in that automatic workflow that is being introduced by Agentic AI. These tools or MCP, the protocols are now introducing secrets management. How do you protect against that? Do you introduce time to live for some of this stuff? How do you do it? And also, how do you ensure that every action that's taken by the Agentic AI is auditable, and that you can actually put guardrails or gates before it gets executed to the production environment or into your environment that could do a lot of damage in case something bad was introduced to that workflow. So a lot more to talk about that. But yeah, it's definitely changed.
Yeah. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate it. Anyone else? I see a number of other security senior execs. Do you have any insights or any question for the panel?
I will add more as we continue. Maybe. Thank you.
All right. So why don't
Well, I'd like to add a point. So I'm David Brown. I was
yeah,
the senior director and executive for multiple organizations in the Middle East over the last 20 years. I'm now VP of operations And we've developed AI to actually replace security analysts at that tier 1 and triage level. And it's worked very well. So AI can be coming in and can successfully take over where a human analyst was performing at that triage level. Now, I'm not saying more advanced areas, but in the triage area, absolutely. We've trained that model. That model operates and functions as a tier 1 analyst would, and then it kicks it up or it puts it down, depending on what that playbook and what that training was. So yes, there are places where I think AI is quickly adopted and bringing into place and helping actually grow and mature the cybersecurity space in a good way compared to what we're seeing like with marketing in other areas where AI is just generating just trash campaigns and spam emails, things like that. But if done correctly and under supervision, it can be an enabler to reduce workforce, improve efficiency, and then elevate the workforce you have to higher levels. So that's my take on that situation that was just brought up.
100%. And so those analysts now could focus more on strategic, do more investigative, and do more, specific areas that would enable the company to do more than just, looking and triaging those alerts. A lot of those AI solutions definitely helps replace some of the work that analysts are doing, which is, very, very not something that I would want to be doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. And that's it, right? When you focus and understand where AI can be an enabler and an optimization and a maturity growth, you will win. When you just put it out there, and like somebody said earlier, CISOs are forced to adapt early and fast because businesses are shutting down. Where I was in the Middle East, in the UAE, right, Microsoft was giving away Copilot to organizations. So they were encouraged to use it, right? And they were using it incorrectly in 98% of every case. And the security around that was horrible because now employees were putting IP into Copilot, being shared who knows where, because they thought that that's what they were supposed to do. And there were no rails or guards around any of that. And it just went haywire. Now, roll that back, deploy it strategically, train it, keep it under supervision. And so when we deployed this, my team's job was to take a lot of those analysts that the AI did and review them periodically. Say, hey, out of every 12, let's look at 2 of them. Did it answer it correctly? Would you have made the same decision? And if the answers came up no at any time, we go back to the training model, we retrain that model. And it's incredibly effective in that path.
All right, thank you, David. So let's one area I wanted to focus on was governance and readiness from a data perspective. I know, Vivek, when we talked the other day, actually yesterday, I think, on a prep call. So just checking on the questions. So you mentioned that a lot of work in that area, and would like to hear your insightful perspectives over there.
Yeah, so I think, when we were discussing what questions to prep for this conversation, the one that I wanted to specifically talk about was the data readiness piece. David was talking about how they trained a model/agent to replace a triage analyst or a SOC analyst. I'm only assuming that they are able to do that and have that sort of human in the feedback loop kind of part because they had pristine data. A lot of us, when we think of AI use cases, especially the non-technical folks in our company, they think of AI being able to conjure up magic without actually understanding that if you don't have the proper underlying data assets with the right amount of metadata governance, it's almost impossible because your models won't be precise, it won't be tuned to your specific needs. And while the chances of hallucination is very limited, because it is not necessarily generating content, but you getting an answer where the probability of or the accuracy being sub 75 or 70% is high. So I just wanted to highlight that, like, if there are individuals on this call who feel like, man, either me or my organization is missing the boat when it comes to AI adoption, You are not. I think if you have clean data, you are 70-80% of the way there. Let the big organizations fight out what foundational LLM model will win. But if you focus on the application layer, coupled with the clean metadata layer or data arrangement, you would still have a lot of time to catch up and actually get it right once instead of trying to iterate through and stumble through a AI solution.
Okay. Thank you, Vivek. Anyone else wants to chime in that area? Prabhat, I know you had some other perspectives on the use of agentic AI, more from observability.
I've got a few thoughts.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike. You want to first jump in?
It's been said a few times, and also challenge something that's been said a few times. We've talked about using AI to free up the time of security folks to do other work and more advanced work. That's the camp I'm in. We've also talked about using AI to replace roles. I'm not in that camp. I don't think that's realistic, especially not in the near term. We in the security community have already had so much work that wasn't getting done because we didn't have enough people to staff it, both in terms of skill shortage as well as just personnel levels of various departments across companies across the world, right? So what I see AI bringing to the table is, one, enabling us to do some things that we just didn't have coverage to do before. Two, enabling us to do some things better through combination of human AI partnership working together. Three, democratization of some skills that used to be more rare on security teams, scripting, coding, things like that. Now you can use generative AI, whether in a form of like ChatGPT or copilots, but also platforms like Lovable to build things, to build your own tools. Right now, we can start to overcome gaps in the product space in ways we've never been able to do before. Write scripts to pull from APIs.
Okay.
That's because
That's
of
right.
AI. I don't think anyone's going away. I just think some of the toil, to kind of use a DevOps term, is now something we can automate away.
Thank you, Mike.
Mike, I would actually partially agree to you that people are not going away, because what I have seen is that these things have not really been working. I mean, as David mentioned, that things were not working before, but their analysts are actually able to do things that people were actually doing earlier. And in your words, it's enabling people. You're always short-staffed, and even 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, we'll always be short-staffed. That's going to happen. However, what I'm seeing in a lot of companies, and I was talking to the CEO of an MDR company who is trying to automate things. And what he mentioned to me was that till 6 months ago, they were trying to put all the agentic AI into analysis.
I think someone is too eager to join in.
I think you have a friend who's agreeing with everything I've said.
That's right.
So there is a future AI agent.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
wants me to take her to somewhere. She just came back. But
Okay.
yeah, but the story being that things required a lot more intervention and a lot more supervision. But as technology is becoming better every day, now 6 months later, and he started the company roughly around 2 years ago. Until 6 months ago, they were not doing a whole lot with agentic AI. But 2 months ago, they tested it again, and it was like, damn, this is working. And it was like, everybody shift and put agentic AI out over here, because this really, really works out over there. Something that I would have done personally. A lot of these things, probably a couple of days or maybe a couple of hours, if not a couple of days. Now we can do it in a couple of minutes. And
Yeah.
intelligence will keep rising. And at some point in time, probably, if there were 10 junior roles, there will possibly be 5 junior roles. But at the top, where you really need people to make strategic decisions, I think it is going to be very, very helpful for them, as well as very empowering for them.
So,
I agree.
so one thing,
I'm
yeah, sorry.
concerned. I'm concerned about your comment though about fewer entry-level roles or early career roles. I think you're right, by the way. I'm not disagreeing with you, but obviously, early career roles are how people become more experienced in their careers. So I think this is a bit of a nuance we're going to have to work through. And I agree with you, right? I mean, the tools that the technology is able to do progressively more and more, which is awesome. I just think it will be freeing up people's time for other things as opposed to eliminating people. Someone was talking though, and I went first, so please.
No,
Go now.
it's okay, Michael. Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of hype around agents, and but I have a contrarian view about this. I think for most of this are still in the dev staging phases. I think for real production deployments with massive scale agentic, like fully autonomous, we have probably several years away. I think it's just a lot of unknowns, from memory, from cost, from reasoning, from hallucinations, from everything, right? So I think we just have to take it in a caution, not get overexcited, like too quickly, too fast, before it starts to chisel out. I think we'll have to take it like one step at a time. And I think coming back to AI was there even before LLMs. I think what LLM has added is the NLP wrapper around it. So it makes things around scripting and data integration, the front end part of the equation, perhaps a little bit smoother. But in terms of pure automation, I mean, AI has been around that has solved it. So I think the real question would be is what is LLMs giving you on top of that pre-LLM AI is not able to do, at a pace at which where the cost of the economics and the deployment models justify this new mousetrap, right? So I think that's an open question to everyone here, and to the broader community as well, right? So it's a lot of unknowns. I don't have the answers.
Thank you, Srinivas.
If I could jump in real quick again, I agree with what
So the
analyst roles and things like that might be limited in new worlds because AI can replace some roles. But as I've said and it was repeated before, those senior level roles will never go away. It's the one thing that we've seen time and time again that we cannot let AI do is make kinetic decisions, right? That ability for AI to make a kinetic decision, whether that be the blocking of something, the terminate of something, the shooting of something, whatever that is, that must still remain with a human hand. Because the AI, in almost all cases, no matter how well the model's trained or how advanced it is, it always looks at the odds in the numbers and goes, if I have to protect asset 1 and asset 2 at the same time, I'm going to divert skills between those to try to do it equally. Or it's going to make a decision to prevent asset 1 or 2, where an analyst can sit back, immediately confer with peers, make a better informed decision of which asset needs to be protected more, take resources away from the least important asset to ensure that the more important, or depending on what the attack or what the outcome is, what the objectives are, see that 3-4 steps ahead, that the AIs just don't have that capability today, tomorrow, or maybe even 5 years from now to do that. So those kinetic decisions can never be in an AI hand. They must be in an analyst's hand. Those analysts will be senior and they will have their job security. Where that triage analyst, yeah, we may hire 10 today, but tomorrow only hire 5 because I can replace 5 with that AI. I think that's a legitimate thing to look at, my 2 cents.
Okay, anyone else has any questions or insights you want to add? Some other folks.
So I think AI can get us there though, right? I mean, we can create that autonomy from beginning to end where it does do that execution in the production environment. But there are things that you can implement in place that, like you said, David, we need individuals to put those controls in place, not necessarily look at it and review every single one. For example, you can make sure that before it goes to production, any rollout goes to a sidecar or proxy. Somebody has to build that structure. Somebody has to pull that policy in place. Somebody also has to put in any specific action that says, hey, if you're going to roll this out, limit the way it's going to roll out, or make sure you have rollback procedures in place right away and make sure that's part of the process. So somebody has to think through that and put that in place. But that's the thing, those people that are working as those analysts, now you can help shape their career faster by having them work on the more difficult stuff. But yeah, there are certain areas that we can absolutely replace current human work because it's repetitive, or that it's something that you can actually analyze very, very quickly through AI instead of somebody having to read and interpret.
Thank you, Randy. So shifting, what I would like to do is shift gear into more, now this is more on the technology side, but from your perspective, whether Mike, even Vivek, Prabhat, how do you see in terms of the, like the customers buying really, obviously there is a hype, technology, a lot of solutions are being given, but from a budgetary perspective, how do you think, Vivek, you are evaluating some of these technologies in your own organization, or and then others also it would be great to hear. I mean, is there a real capital or
just
money
to be
being
clear,
invested?
Eric, are we talking about AI buying AI tools?
Yeah.
Yeah, so at least in my case, we have to make our own budget, so to speak. We have to show that we are reducing spend elsewhere to justify the spend that you're making on a net new tool. And so I'll give some concrete examples. We have been building, so we are a Google shop, and so we have adopted Google Agent Space. As much as we would like to be working with Zapier and N8N and all the stuff that actually works, being a Google shop and being a security guy, I have to limit everybody in the company to work on Google Agent Space. We are working through it. And what it has allowed to do is it has allowed us to allows to automate some basic use cases around security questionnaire answering that we have been able to automate about 80%-ish, and we continuously evolve that agent to do better and better. We have also been able to sort of create a chatbot for the company where they can come and ask for security policy updates and so on. Whereas otherwise they would have reached out to us, et cetera, et cetera. But that's us leveraging an existing capability that Google has provided, being that we are a Google shop. Where I do see AI that we can leverage today is around compliance automation. And it's again something that we have seen some results of using the agents that we have built internally using Agent Space, but Agent Space as a platform is still maturing and is not there. But compliance automation is also where we have multiple touch points with some of the senior tech resources in our company. And there is always pressure on the compliance team to reduce that exposure so that they can go back and to do what they do best, which is to actually build good tech. So in that case, we're looking at compliance automation tools. We are also looking at automated test tools to help out a QA team and so on. So very practical applications of AI in our company that we feel we would get a leg up. I think Mike was making the point that there can never be enough resources. That's always the case. I own data as well in the company, and I can never have enough. Forget about the security part. That I think in my lifetime I would never be fully staffed. But even on the data front, we're not. We don't have enough data scientists, and so we have looked at AI tools to sort of accelerate that journey. So the investment is very specific and pointed, but also it is not something that we can go to the board and ask for net new money. We have to leverage. We have to let go of a tool that was not giving us the right benefit, and then shift that investment over to buying any new AI tool that might benefit us.
Thank you, Vivek. Great perspective and great use cases. Mike, how about you? I know you've been working with even CSA as well as many other companies, where I'm sure you're looking at how they are buying patterns,
right?
Yeah, more on like, is it real? I mean, obviously there is a hype, solutions, lots of solutions, whether their AI tools are being bought or not.
Oh, it's real. I mean, it shows up in quotes all the time, but
are they writing the checks?
No, yeah, I think here's my thought.
Like
you're getting AI capabilities. That's one element. Another would be any project where you're looking at various ways of doing it. if the AI version has a higher ROI than the non-AI version, it kind of speaks for itself. Third would be optimizing existing run rates, stop investing in a tool or save money in a renewal to free up dollars to invest in somewhere else. I will say, I'm not personally convinced that many things that I see charging for AI as in the experimental stage at this point, right? Everyone's investing in AI. They're trying to figure out how to make an agent, and in many ways treating like agents like we could sell you a bunch of agents, and then we could sell you a bunch of extra seats to use those agents, right? I think long term, we're going to start to see a consolidation where AI features, or AI is just going to be like a feature set, right? And it's like saying I want to charge you extra for reporting. At some point, it will just be a built-in expectation, table stakes, that tools operate with AI. And this is, I think, we'll stop seeing efforts to have a separate line item. I think that's down the road, but not. But
I mean, to further Mike's point, I'm already seeing that with Google. Gemini used to be a separate SKU that we had to buy, but now it's embedded and it's part of GWS. And I think Agent Space is going down the same route. It will eventually be part of the combined workspace SKU and not like a separate SKU that they sell today. So it's bound to happen. Just a matter of maturity.
Yeah. Actually, that's a great point, Vivek. I just saw an email from Google Workspace. Oh, you can use our video editing tool now free right now, right? So that's similar. And at some point, people start using, then they want to charge, then they'll say, okay, we have to give it. We see that anyway. It's even in software, right? You start with one thing, they say, okay, I need another one, and you keep cutting the prices and you keep giving them free, right?
Yeah.
So Prabhat, great to hear from your side. Are you collecting some money by selling some observability agents?
I am seeing something very different. I mean, orthogonal to what Vivek and Mike mentioned. A lot of people have started using a lot of these agents. And the side effect of that is that you're making a lot more API calls, not only to these LLMs, but these LLMs are making a whole lot more calls now. Through these LLMs, you're making a whole lot calls to your underlying systems to get data. And especially in the area, and we are seeing some impact of that, is that many companies are locking down their APIs or reducing their rate limits. What we're also seeing is that, especially in the area of security, of course, and in observability, because the underlying data, for example, you've got tons of logs out over there, and you want to do log analysis, and your MCP server, you create an MCP server, and your agent is hitting that MCP server. Now, if you have got a couple hundred terabytes of data or a couple of petabytes of data in your logging system, say, for example, OpenObserver, Splunk, Sentinel-1, wherever, if that system, you're calling that first, each and every call is actually quite expensive because it has to shift through so much of data. And you can't really make so many calls unless you have extremely efficient systems, extremely fast systems. So that is something that we are seeing, where many of these systems are actually like agentic system that we are building. They're not able to leverage the underlying system very well, simply because the underlying systems are overloaded, are getting overburdened. So that is a side impact of these systems right now. And unless we build the underlying infrastructure that can actually handle all of that, this is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, I think this is back to my earlier point that I was making.
Srinivas, can you hold on? I just want to cover some other folks here before we go. Sorry about that. Manish Rawat, I think you put a nice. It'll be great if you can be on the video too, and just say two lines about yourself, and maybe you can bring out the points you're bringing up in the chat. I thought Manish was there. Maybe he just put in the chat and then he's gone. All right, Srinivas, your turn.
No, I was just, this is just like hit a pivot. but the democratization of the agent runtime footprint, I think we are still in the early stages, right? So the cost, the economics, the security model, everything, all that, I think we're still in the early days. We'll have to hit that escape velocity before it can be perceived as wide stream deployment. I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, all right. So I think Raj here, you have a good question you wanted to ask the panelists. Would you please? I know you're on mute. Looks like Raj. Yes, please.
Yes. I was just, I'm on the hardware side, just to give everybody a background. I'm putting in the fiber cabling, and I just got back from SFO from a plane ride to Louisiana, where Meta and a few other companies are building lots of data centers. So I guess my question is somewhat a young question. How is the cybersecurity practices moving to defend against, sophisticated nation state and ransomware attacks? What are they going to do? How are they going to react to these rising AI powered threats? There's a lot of data. I think Meta's up to 100 data centers, and I'm curious how we see this evolving.
Vivek or Mike or anyone else wants to take a stab at it.
I mean, I think that's a very complicated, multifaceted question, right? There's everything from poisoning of data sets, which I think is probably going to be as hard to uncover as backdoors in code, which is, like a really difficult challenge. Sometimes some people say an even impossible challenge. But then there's other things like using AI in the way that adversaries use AI, as sort of this like, ladders and walls race, right? Like adversaries using LLMs to generate malware variants that bypass detections, right? But at the same time, detection vendors using LLMs to do the same thing, to try and find these variants first that bypass detection so that they can update their detections, right? So, I mean, these are just two examples. I don't think they're exhaustive by any means, but in some cases, I think oh man, my year, I don't know what happened. I literally got brand new internet today. That seems to work fine, but maybe my Euromesh is now having problems.
Maybe it's like an analogous to like new AI agents,
Yeah,
All right. So Srini, you wanted to add in something.
No, I think all
also.
I'm saying is that it is, you have to skin the layer at multiple dimensions, right? So there's model security, there's API security, there's prompt security, and then there is the traditional web layers and all the facets that touch it. And now, because the threats can now transcend and cross jump from one to the other, it just makes the problem of detection and enforcement much harder, right? So all these are good opportunities. There are lots of young startups and companies who are trying to address it, and all could potentially become big companies. So, but we're still early days in that. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the other folks who haven't participated? If you have any insights or you want to ask a question, so just want to make sure you're also Ravi Lingarkar. Anyone else? Mihir? You have any insights, anything you want to add or anything? Anurag? Okay.
I mean, my question is simple, like, is there a popular agent application that is in CISO radars other than building agents themselves?
So Vivek,
Do you mean AI tools?
Yeah,
Or
something like drop zone, like vendors that are already,
yes,
sort of in our mental models.
yes,
Well, that's one that's in mine.
okay.
Drop zone.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking much more practical, meaning much more practical to me, which is Perplexity. You can do Perplexity has, I don't know if there are Perplexity users in this forum, but if you have seen their evolution over the last 6 to 9 months, I've been using Perplexity for the last 18 months approximately, but it's like, there are articles about them being Google killers and all that, obviously overblown. But Google certainly is talking about Perplexity in their board meetings and their executive meetings and so on. So they have made some really good strides. I've also started using Comet, their agentic browser, for the last 2 weeks. And I'm amazed at what it can do from a day-to-day task point of view. So we are earlier in the conversation, I talked about like digital avatars and you having your own personal assistant, etc., etc. I don't think we are too far away from that day, maybe a year, 18 months, where I'll tell Naveen, my agent will talk to your agent and we'll fix a time for us to speak, right? It seemed far-fetched 2 years ago, then 18 months ago seemed like okay, but now it's almost there. And so drop zone is a good one. But Anurag, I just to keep things simple, just looking at Perplexity and the evolution that they have gone through over the last 6 to 9 months, and this whole agentic browser thing, which they were the first to market with. There are lots and lots of possibilities.
Right.
Things that we do today or we have been doing for 10 plus years. I think some of the younger professionals coming into workforce would not even do that a year from now.
Yeah, so Perplexity will fall in the productivity space, right? I mean, it will
Correct.
improve the productivity, whereas Drop Zone is more like a IT application that can be leveraged for internal usages, right? Yeah, but it's very interesting to know that Perplexity has made so much strides that it's entering the IT departments internally. So that's huge.
Yeah.
Thank
I have a
you.
question you asked me. My question is, what we are doing right now is we are basically replicating all the what I will call the legacy tools with AI washed tools. Even take the example of Drop Zone, alert fatigue. Yes, there are many tools now solving a single one aspect of the whole security workflow. So what will happen is we'll end up creating yet another layer of tools that are just AI, just plus AI, whatever plus AI. And we are not converging. This is not we are diverging. We keep diverging and then complaining why the security problem is not being solved. This is pure divergence. We keep adding more and more tools. An average in enterprise already has 50 plus tools. And it will have
120 plus.
Sorry?
120 plus tools.
Yeah, depending on the size. But this is
that you know of.
This is a divergence problem. If you know control system, there is no feedback loop. There is no dampening factor here to bring it to converge. So we're just blowing everything up again.
Well, and that's where I think it's very interesting where we're at today, right? Because with Anthropic coming out with MCP, there's a lot more people that are integrating their own tool sets with their own LLMs and trying to figure out how do they put all that together. You don't have to wait for a vendor anymore these days. You can start building your own solution in-house. The problem with that is that it makes it easier for anybody in the company to do that, and then therefore the the security opportunities just explode.
It's like the shadow AI, right?
And then when that person who built it leaves, then there is panic. Nobody's there to maintain it.
That's why the carrier path is resistant proof, right? So the security, you always need it.
Thank you. So some other folks like Bill and Krishna, do you guys have any insights or you want to ask any questions? Just want to make sure you had an opportunity as well.
This is Bill here. No, I'm enjoying the conversation.
Okay, great. Awesome. And Krishna?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, all right. How about Nikhil, Jason, Ram? Jason, good to have you here. Do you have any questions or any insights you want to provide? Okay. All right. Okay, and how about Mustafa? I know you just, sorry, someone was saying something.
Sorry. Yeah. A very interesting perspective for many people. And one comment made was that your agent will be talking to another agent to set up a meeting. And there was a comment by David saying that kinetic decisions are going to be difficult and it may not be possible at some point in time. But I think if your agent is exposed to as much as your ability to think how much you want to train your agent will be able to do kinetic decisions depending on what is the amount of freedom and leverage you're giving. So I think the world is going to get there, and anything that is not so critical or even fairly little critical, such kinetic decisions will all be automated. And that's going to happen very fast, like someone else was mentioning. In a matter of 12 to 18 months, yes, we will start seeing that happening a lot more in our domain, at least.
Yeah, thank you, Ram. All right. So we are almost coming to the last 3 minutes. So what would be, is there anyone who can foresee like what will happen in 2 years at least? Now, since in the last 2 years since the ChatGPT came, I can't even predict, even though we keep progressing in our own platform also fast, but we don't know what next 2 years. So I think maybe Vivek, from your side,
I think I already made my
about this.
prediction. The my agent will talk to your agent part. I think it's real. It will happen. I also foresee sort of this hype almost beginning to die down. We are seeing a lot of M&A activity around the AI space already, but 2 years is like is a long time in the AI space, and we would stop having this fight over AI talent by then that we're seeing currently today with like 100 million plus packages and so
on. Mike?
I think we'll see normalcy within 2 years, right? It's just, it's still going to be obviously widely used, widely deployed, but I think it'll be less feared and more normal, kind of more an everyday thing.
How about Prabhat? Where do you see in 2 years? You deal with a lot of data, at least I know of, since you're my customer.
Yeah, so I think I would echo with what everyone has said, that there is going to be a whole lot more agentic. Okay. There are going to be a whole lot more agents. The only thing that I fear is how much of load all of this is going to put on infrastructure, which we are already seeing. And unless we build the underlying infrastructure to be strong enough, things we might start seeing some cracks out over there. That at least in my industry where I'm operating with customers, I've already started seeing some of them.
Yeah.
So there are some of the folks I can, Hiram, do you have any questions or insights you want to provide? And just want to make sure that you want to, anything you wanted to ask the panelists?
No, I actually just really enjoyed the conversation. It's nice hearing the back and forth of everybody, and I just appreciate the great conversation.
Okay, thank you, Adam. And how about Chinedu? Hopefully I'm not butchering the name. Okay, anyone else? Cooper, if I missed. Okay, I think I've covered anyone. Yeah, Randy, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, in 2 years, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more case filings against individuals that are not meeting the AI requirements, especially in the EU AI Act. We're seeing that right now. We're going to start seeing people not being able to sell into certain countries. We're going to see startups that need to carry a certain burden around any potential fines against them. We have a startup in San Francisco that cannot sell into Italy and haven't been for the last 3 years, and then recently got fined $2 million. I think it's $2 million. If every other country starts following suit, that startup company is not going to be able to survive. So we're going to start seeing a little bit more structured on how we sell into other countries, the responsibilities a lot of startups have, including larger companies, on how they adopt AI and publish it. So we're going to start seeing a lot more transparency and maybe figure out who is it that they're going to have to go to in a company when AI is not met based on the regulations that are out there today, or going to be out there in the next year or two.
Yeah, thank you, Randy. Really appreciate it. Anyone else, Vivek, or anyone has last? And so otherwise, we will adjourn the meeting. Vivek, you wanna interrupt?
No, I was just gonna ask. I mean, since we have a good group of people, can I just poll to see what and where do people go to keep up with all the AI news? I'll share mine if it matters. I subscribe to the Rundown. That's Andrew Ng. It's a newsletter that comes out definitely a weekly, sometimes twice a week as well. And then I follow Sanya Ojha. She's a partner at Bain Capital on LinkedIn, and she pretty much does a daily sort of rundown on all things AI. And then she sort of wraps it up with the Sunday weekly as well, I think hers is far more insightful. But just wanted to ask, like, what people do. Is there anything that you would recommend folks here should follow or read?
Yeah,
All right.
similar
Well,
avenues.
I
Similar
subscribe
avenues, and then
to-
sorry,
Yes.
go ahead.
go
I
ahead,
subscribe to this Turing post. I think it's like it's a blog post.
Okay.
So it gives all the latest advance. It's a little bit more technical, but you'll enjoy it. It's called Turing post. Yeah.
Yeah, I also get a lot of the Vivek. I'll forward you, I think, emails. I don't, something doesn't come off my mind. Yeah.
I think Randy was also sharing something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I take a more podcast approach, but I use Notebook LLM to go search the latest articles and then put it together. Just
You
listen on my
need an
phone.
agent. You need an agent for that.
You need an agent for that.
All right.
It's a good way to catch up, in addition to all the readings that I do.
All right. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for
Thank you.
everyone
Thank you,
to
Naveen.
join in today for a very interactive discussion. Really appreciate your time. And a lot of you are like Midwest or Mountain, some of the folks. So really appreciate you all being here. Thank you again. Talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
Alright.
folks. Yep. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.